Good morning. On behalf of Veterans in Politics, I want to thank you for coming. Just to give you a brief overview of this process, the panel members will give a 30-second introduction of ourselves, and then you'll be given an opportunity to give a 30-second introduction of yourself, what office you're running for, and why you want our endorsement. Once a panel member asks you a question, you'll be given 1 minute in order to respond. I won't be completely rude, but we have a lot of assembly candidates today, so I'll have you wrap it up as soon as possible. And then after that, you'll be given 30 seconds for a conclusion to where you can give your final statement and any campaign contact information you want. My name is Jim Jonas. I am the Director of Veterans in Politics, and I also co-host the podcast with Steve Sanson.
Hello, John. My name's Gianno Amato. Been here all my life, and I'm a local entrepreneur.
Good morning, John. It's nice of you to be here. I'm Robert Faust. I am a third-generation Vietnam veteran. I am a third-generation veteran. I've served in Vietnam. My father, World War II. My grandfather, World War I. After the war, I played professional baseball for about 10 years. I spent 4 years in the federal penitentiary for drug smuggling. And I am an author twice.
Thank you for serving.
Okay, sir, go ahead. Give your 30-second introduction, please.
My name is John Gonzalez. I'm candidate for Assembly District 9. I'm born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My family was born here. My business was started here, and I've spent my whole life here. And so this is my place, and I'm here to fight for it. I am a constitutional conservative, and I believe that the generation that is growing up needs that, and they want that. They're tired of career politicians, and I'm here to help knock the guy out in my district who is the Democrat incumbent. And so I'm here to fight for the conservatives.
Okay, well, I'll start off by giving you the hardest question you're going to be asked all morning. Give me the boundaries of your district. And the reason why the boundaries of your district, and the reason why I say it's hard is because gerrymandering is a lot of fun.
It is.
So just as briefly as you can, I always tell candidates, never eat soggy waffles, right? Mm-hmm. So north, east, southwest, just give us the general parameters, please.
Okay, if you're in my district, you're in the southwest of Las Vegas. You're 215 Durango, south of that to Blue Diamond. And then we go west towards Fort Apache. And then you're going into the Summerlin area where you'll find Bishop Gorman, and we get cut off at Tropicana. There's a weird part in the lining that we cut into District 5 area, but that's where we're at, southwest.
Okay, that's why I said it's like anytime I ask someone that, I've ran for office and I understand how gerrymandering is, so it gets a little crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my first question, we, Veterans in Politics, we proposed a bill last legislative session, and unfortunately it died in committee. It's called Remove or Retain, okay? And basically what it states is this: if a judge, that's an incumbent judge though, okay, runs for re-election but doesn't draw any opponents, okay, then it would go, they'd be put on the ballot, and it would literally say remove or retain. So the citizens could still vote. If retain gets more votes, then okay, they win. Mm-hmm. The current situation right now is they automatically win. So we want to give the voters an opportunity to say, no, this is a bad judge. We want them removed. And then what happens at that point is that the seat is vacated and other people that want to be judge file to become a judge. It goes to the Judiciary Appointment Board, and then they select 3, and then it goes to the governor for appointment. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why we want this bill is because what ends up happening here in Nevada, and I'm sure in every state, but in particular here, is that these incumbent judges that have been on the bench for so long, attorneys and other people that want to be judges are afraid to actually oppose them because they're afraid that if they appear before them in the courtroom again, then they're going to get an unfair hearing. Would you be willing to take up that bill, or if it gets out of committee, at least vote for it?
It's an interesting bill. You know why? The judiciary system here in Nevada is a little funky. We have judges that are running it for election, and they have to do a campaign. And it seems to me like they would be potentially liable to being bought out. And that's a little funky in its own right. And so I do enjoy that perspective of retaining or removing. That gives the opportunity for the citizens to say, hey, you know what, we maybe voted for the wrong guy. He was bought out and he was paid for. And it was like, we can see that by his procedure or by how he comes down on things. And so I would definitely take a look at putting that into law and supporting that.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, so my first question is about corrupt judges. There was a situation here in Henderson, Nevada, back in, I want to say 2014, 2015, all the way up until 2018. And the situation happened, I want to say, towards the end of 2015, where a judge, actually took a supposed or a victim, of domestic violence and locked them up for almost 2 weeks to the day, to testify on the other person, Now, remember, this person is already supposedly have been victimized. This is a victim, supposedly, So now, what would you say, and that happened with Mark Stevens, in Henderson. Would you support a bill, or would you write a bill to remove a judge that did something like that, sir?
It makes sense to write a bill or fight for our citizens. Our judges need to be kept in check. And it's interesting that was the victim was put in jail for 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. And we got evidence.
Seems unacceptable.
Would you write a bill, sir? Would
Absolutely.
you support a bill?
I would support a bill. Now, this is my first run at politics, so I would need the support of a team to help me understand how that would be framed. And I'd love to get together with you guys and work on that. And yes, I would definitely work to protect the citizens.
Okay, great. My follow-up question, we got a judge in family court here in Las Vegas. His name's Matthew Harder, Very biased judge, I think he ran into the wrong person. He basically forced me, I'm having to terminate my own rights, right, to my child. The only problem with that right is, somebody would think, oh my God, he's terminating his own rights. But what happened is the situation with him being so biased and he wants to prove he has power, right? We need to take that power the hell away from his bald ass, So anyways, I think that it's important, to put a judge out there, We have literally evidence of him committing a crime, and the crime was bankruptcy fraud, If a judge is proven to have committed a crime, he would be considered a criminal, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Would you support a bill to remove that judge if there is evidence of him committing a crime?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So what do you think about the schools? First of all, what are you running as politically and religiously? And would you allow your religious thoughts to interfere with your judgment?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for serving. My wife's from Vietnam. Their family fought for the South Vietnamese Army, and they got thrown into re-education camps. So we appreciate all the work that you did for there and for my family. They're very thankful to be Americans. Now, in regards to school, well, also I'll tackle the school. We do need to give the parents the power. We do need to put the strength back onto the family unit. last couple generations believe that it's like we leave our kids, and I don't shame the parents, we leave our kids at the school and that's the babysitter. It's not producing results that are sustainable for the future. If we're going to be attracting businesses to Las Vegas and saying, hey, come to Las Vegas, great, no tax, low taxes, but you get the worst educated workforce in America. We have to change the system. And I do really support the education savings accounts. Have the money follow the children. Allow competition at the educational level for the parents to take their kids to the choice that they think the future of America and Nevada is. If they think the future is maybe astrology and they think space travel is it, take your kid to a program and use those funds that was already allocated to those children to that program, and it'll create competition for the schooling. I think that's how we fix the future of our economy. In regards, can you say the second part of your question again?
What was your religion? Would you allow your religion to interfere with your decisions? And what are you running as?
Running as a Republican, constitutional conservative. I have come to a point in my life that I'm a Christian and I believe in Christianity, and it helps me now in regards to writing laws in regards to Christianity. I don't think it's that easy. I think it's making sure to follow the Constitution and make sure to write our laws. You're going to find me saying no a lot or repealing. I'm not a guy that wants to go write more laws, because then at the end of every law, there's a barrel, and then we have to start funding systems to support these bills. In regards to my religious views, I don't believe that has a huge impact on the laws that I will write. It won't. Where my religious views play a role is in the culture war. There's literally a culture war going on, and conservatives are actively realizing that we need to take back our culture. And so that's where my values permeate into my communities through that. In regards to the laws, it should not be manipulating the laws I write.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so my next question. So it seems like this year and in past years, every person that's running as a Republican wants to push ESAs. Okay. And I do believe that ESAs creating competition for me is a good thing. But the pushback to ESAs is that you get into a weird spot when it comes to when the parent wants to take their child to a religious school. Now, I understand that separation of church and state is actually not in the Constitution. It was an opinion letter written by Thomas Jefferson. However, it is a tax question when it comes to 501c3s. So how do you feel about people that say that ESAs, in fact, are unconstitutional, and if we create ESAs, then, in fact, we are working to destroy the public school system? That's
interesting
a
perspective.
long-winded question.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting perspective, and that has not been brought up to me yet. And I am interested in picking people's brains on how to make that work. I do believe competition is the key for the Nevada economy. I do believe that we have to get back to a mentor-mentee type of system, where in the 21st century, where information is readily available. And so there's more opportunity for people to be educated on specific industries that are thriving and are the future of Nevada. Now, in regards to the religious offerings and those programs and the 501c3, that does create complication. Is there somebody that you have respected that talks about this topic?
Yes, actually, someone who I'm running their campaign, and they're actually a CPA, and that was something that we had discussed.
Good. One of my best qualities is I pick people's brains. If I don't know something, I'm going to go pick your brain and figure out how to make it work. And so after this interview, I would love to get to a point where I can meet this person and see their perspective so I can be better educated and better representation of my district.
Okay, well, thank you very much. One last question on education. So Republicans running this year, and this isn't a new idea, and I'm not attacking Republicans. Like a lot of people have brought this up. And I used to be a really huge fan of breaking up the Clark County School District into every municipality. But then there was research done by IPN that stated that by doing that, it would actually increase the cost of education in the state of Nevada, not decrease it, because essentially now, instead of the Clark County School District, now you have the Mesquite School District, the North Las Vegas School District, the Las Vegas School District, the Henderson School District, the Boulder City School District. You would still have CCSD, and then you would have the Moapa School District. So it's almost like you're just adding more bureaucracy at some point. So based on that, do you still believe there's a way to break up the Clark County School District and not add taxes?
Good question. Yeah, it is interesting that when you scale things out, it becomes cheaper. Your overhead doesn't go up, but our system's not working. It just we're not effective, and maybe there's some internal things we can do at the CCSD level. It's amazing how much they get paid, right? Total compensation upwards of $500,000 for a main guy, too much. And so there's a lot of bureaucratic. They're bought. There's a lot of money going there for work that is subpar. And in America, we like quality. And so I do get savings and making sure not to go above budget. And I really appreciate sticking to a budget and staying on budget and forecasting budgets. In regards to breaking CCSD up, that's what I heard. I heard that the issue is the cost will go up. But sometimes the costs are important to make sure that we have quality products, which are the next generation of workers. So in regards to raising taxes, I can't support raising taxes. We're not underfunded. We have a lot of money going to the CCSD system. And so I do believe that there's opportunity to adjust and make the system work. But I do believe competition creates quality and lowers costs. And if you have the parents helping the competition by taking their money to the people that are performing, the other performers will come out and they will compete and create higher quality education for lower costs. They see a man charging an arm and a leg. Let's just charge an arm.
So do you think teachers should be gender coaches?
Absolutely not. I don't think that. I think our education's got too big. I think we need to scale it down just to reading, writing, math, arithmetic. We don't need all these areas that maybe they're not professionals in, teachers, and forcing them to teach on topics that they weren't. Why are they teaching on music if they're not musicians? And so that I really believe in scaling down the education system here in Nevada, keeping it based on books. But again, I'm writing laws, so I get to support these people that do support these ideologies. But scale down our education and allow for those organizations to compete for the parent's dollar, the money that's following the child. And I think there's an opportunity there. If there is some gender confusion or gender euphoria, or if there's anything, if a parent thinks that it's essential to make sure a child's educated in that area of life, take your kid there. But a lot of us don't think that we need to confuse our kids on those topics. Life is already confusing, and none of us have it figured out. And in regards to gender, and which leads to sex, that's a powerful thing. That's a very powerful. I love my wife, man. Sex is a powerful thing. Why introduce it to children? So a lot of parents across our valley are feeling that, and across the nation are feeling that. And so if it's an option, cool. There will be parents that want to take advantage of that. Let the free market decide. But I know that my constituents, most of them are not up for gender or sex education for especially kids between any age under the age of 10. Parents are not up for other adults they don't know influencing their children. So no, teachers should not have that as their responsibility to educate our kids.
Okay, thank you. We have time for 2 more questions. Gianno?
Okay, so my first question, John, is you made a statement earlier. It says, take your culture back. Can you explain what you meant by that?
2 examples. My half-brother, he's not born and raised, we grew up together. He's a military man. Went to Marines, got out of the Marines, got into civilian life, went back into the armed forces as Air Force. Once he heard about Space Force, he's like, yeah, give me back into the military. Contrary to me, I went through the education system. I went through UNLV. I went through women's studies. I went through all these groups, and I came out thinking that America was a god-awful place. And I'm blessed because I've had people come into my life and slap my brain. And it took I'm 33 years old now, and it took 13 years to slap that stuff out of my brain. It took a while. And my friend he went straight into the military, but he's valued defending yourself, being responsible for your actions, respecting others' boundaries, fighting for what's right. He's been like that since out of college or out of high school. He's like, John, I went through the military. They don't culture us that way. You went through the education system. You came out thinking America was a god-awful place. You thought America was obese, arrogant, fat, aggressive, genocidal. You thought America was a bad place, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I didn't get that type of input. The culture in the military is different. And so those are contrary cultures. There's an influence there's a culture war. There is a culture war, and conservatives and mom and dads need to just get on the side of their kids and their future and realize, I believe more of our constituents have realized that there's something going on in how we're educating our kids, and they're coming out activists, they're coming out confused, they're coming out hating their own Americans, like they're trying to fight own Americans, and we're all on the same team. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, definitely. My next question, okay, is you talk about education, right? So what about guns in schools and keeping our children safe while they're in school? Would you support a bill? Would you write a bill? And if you would, how would you structure the bill to allow certain teachers, right, certain principals, whatever it is, to be able to have guns in schools to be able to protect our children?
I think you're right on point on how we deter active shooters from our campuses. Bad people don't go, they're not dumb people. They want to kind of save their own lives. They won't go to a bank or a police station and bring out a gun and start shooting people. Why? Because they're deterred. But they see a gun-free zone called our education system, our campuses with our little kids, and they don't see deterrence. They see an opportunity to go in there, cause havoc, maybe get a lot of attention, because it's shown that people that do things of this sort are attention seekers. Some of them are mentally ill, but they go into these places and cause havoc and then get out unscathed. And now there's a huge progressive push to lighten violent crimes. And so it's almost incentivized to have gun-free zones for people that want to cause crimes. And so if there's no deterrence on our campus, there's no bad guys don't think twice. But if we arm individuals, create a program that are now in regards to the legislation, I would love support on how to structure that. I don't have an answer to you right here, right now. But I do believe in the ability for teachers who we trust. We trust these people to educate our kids, right? They're the ones that we trust to influence how they think, what their culture is, what their morals are. We should trust them to have guns also. I believe that we should protect our students by creating a program that would allow deterrence in the form of train the teachers on how to create a program that allows the teachers to be well armed and understand how to use that firearm. And there's deterrence. There's deterrence. And deterrence is what makes America so powerful, is we deter the rest of the world from communistic and socialistic ideologies. And we have national politics. We haven't been very scary lately. So you see the rest of the world kind of acting up now.
Right. Okay, John. Thank you very much. With that being said, I'll go ahead and that'll conclude the question and answer period. And I'll give you 30 seconds to give your final statement. If you want to just look into the camera. And John, please make sure you give all your campaign contact information out as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, team. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's not cool being a conservative in my generation, but coming out of the closet, I've realized that there's so much support for conservative and constitutional ideas. People are waking up, and so I appreciate all the voters out there. We are in a district where there's a Democrat incumbent who is talks a middle of the line kind of talk, but he acts very progressive, doesn't consider any conservative. Middle of the line, all of us can agree on type of legislation. Consider supporting me. I'm the guy that will fight for your kids' health, wealth, and the future. You can find my email at johngonzalesnv.com. That's JOHNGONZALEZNV.com. Or you can go to our website at johngonzalesnv.com. JOHNGONZALEZNV.com. And we would love, if you're in our district, vote. Vote and tell your friends. You're an informed voter now, and go tell your friends what is going on and who you see and what. There's people out here that is actively wanting to protect the health and wealth of your children, and inform them that there's a candidate out there. If you aren't in my district, come volunteer. If you have legs or you have ability to make calls and that's you, reach out and help support our volunteers. We have a massive effort, and we appreciate you. And if you're not able to do either of those, donate. We do need the resources. My competitor, he has a war chest of over $460,000. And so we are grassroots. We believe in the future of our kids, and we need to fight for Nevadans' health and wealth. And so I appreciate you. So jump on board. I look forward to seeing you on the streets.
Thank you very much. With that'll conclude our endorsement interview for Nevada State Assembly District 9. Thank you.
Thank you.